Hi there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, and wellness advocate, and today's topic is real reasons people go no contact. And so whether it is family, whether it is a spouse, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend type of situation, or even just a friend, there is a lot of misconceptions on why people cut the ties or why people choose to go no contact. And so today let's discuss that. Number one, rarely do people ever impulsively, within just like a very short time, decide to cut the ties and go no contact. Typically, it's something that's not over a minor offense. Instead, it's over something quite significant. And in most cases, it's over something that's major, drastic, and it's never something trivial. Next, number two, people do not just get up and quit and walk away from a relationship, especially a really long-term relationship, when it's just something small that's upsetting or whatever happened between the two of you, or even more people. If it's a family, it could be a whole family. But typically it's something that people don't just get up and quit over something small, that people usually, when they go no contact, it's because there's a long history of abuse, manipulation, denial, deception, and dysfunction. Number three, other real reasons people go no contact is because when you start weighing the pros and the cons of the relationship, of the toxic person, you realize that you have more to lose than to gain. Number four, there's a lack of trust, and this one is vital. This one could be right up there as like the number one real reason people go no contact. When you lose trust, whether it's a family member, mother, father, siblings, grandparents, what have you, or whether it's a spouse or a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend situation, it's really serious. When there's a long history of twisted, blatant lies, and there is no foundation of trust because they lost your trust, it's really difficult to remain in a relationship with someone like that. Number five is they repeatedly cross your boundaries. They don't understand the meaning of healthy boundaries. They will walk on you. They will trample on you. They don't care about healthy boundaries. And that is a really good reason. When someone's that disrespectful, it's a really good reason that it may be wise to just cut the ties and break free from that relationship. Next would be number six. If these people are disrespectful, dishonest, and if they're someone who is not lifting us up, but tearing us down, and it seems like they're just constantly criticizing us, judging us, they're mistreating us, there could be abuse involved, there could just be a history of a lot of hurts, a lot of deep, deep wounds, it might be time to go no contact. Number seven. This is also a really important factor, and it took me many years to reach this point of listening to that instinct within me, that gut intuition that is a little alarm. You know, we're all born with this alarm system, and it's internal, it's within us, and we know, we could feel it and sense it when something's wrong. Sometimes we could tell when someone's lying to us, when someone's not truthful to us, when someone's maybe only telling us a little bit of the truth, but something in our gut is just saying, something's not right. We need to really honor that. We need to give ourselves more credit that we know when something's off. We know when something's just not adding up. And a lot of times people could be great at lying, they could be great at making up stories, and they could be dishonest and just pretend that everything's fine. But inside there's this internal signal, and it's telling us it's not fine. So we need to tune into that, we need to listen to that, and we need to give ourselves permission to trust it. Number Let's see, number 8 is typically these people are very superficial. They're not real. They're not real with us. They're not real with others. They're not even real with themselves. They're people who could win an Oscar nomination for being a wonderful actor and actress. They wear a false mask. They pretend a lot, like their life is just one big act, and they pretend that everything's okay, or they pretend whatever they want to make believe. They're living in like a fantasy land, a fairy tale land, and it is not lining up with our reality. And so that is a real big sign that there's someone toxic and narcissistic in your life, and you may need to consider going no contact. Number 9, another real reason people go no contact in relationships is because we become so exhausted. We become tired after spending months and years, and some of us have spent decades and even a lifetime involved with, whether it's family, whether it's a spouse or friends or whoever it may be. There's this history of dysfunction, of abuse. The abuse could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be sexual, or it could be all of the above. And it just gets to a point where we become weary. We just get burnt out. And that is a sign you may need to consider going no contact to salvage your own peace of mind and emotional wellness. Number 10 is, this one's a big one. I mean, if I have to give any kind of pet peeve on people who are toxic, it's that they're not sorry. They have no remorse. They're not even aware of what the hell they're doing. They are so oblivious. They lie, not just to you, but to themselves, to the point that they believe it, and they don't even understand what they're offending you with. They have zero repentance. They don't care, and you just are worn out. You're emotionally exhausted. You're spiritually exhausted. You're physically beat up over it. And it might be a sign that it's time to consider either low contact or no contact. The next one is that when there's no change in a person, so say you're in a relationship, and it could be with a family member, it could be with a marriage, it could be with a friend or boyfriend-girlfriend situation, and you are trying so hard to build this relationship and to mend it. And things aren't well, but you're trying so hard. You may have spent just years and years and years trying to keep it together. But when there's no change and that person, that toxic person, that's a sign. You know, it's a big red flag. If a person wants to change, they're going to try to make an effort. And when there's no effort and there's not one single thing they're doing to improve the relationship, it may be time to go no contact. And the last one, this one I have to say is number 1. So if you're gonna go with anything that stands out, this is major, and this is the biggest reason people choose to go no contact. Accountability. So let's talk about accountability. When the narcissistic parent or spouse or friend are not accountable for their behaviors and their actions and their words, or their lack of actions, when they are not responsible because they choose to not take responsibility, and they're neglecting you, they're neglecting things that they need to do to salvage a relationship, and they're choosing to ignore it. They're choosing to not repent, to not turn away from their sin, but instead to continue this toxic behavior. So for example, the spouse keeps cheating on you, the spouse keeps lying to you, and say it's your family. They keep betraying you, they keep gossiping about you, they keep mistreating you, they keep bashing you, hurting you, and they're doing everything within their power to bring you down and break you. It is a big red flag that they're not going to change. And when a person is not going to be remorseful and they're not going to say they're sorry, anybody could pretend they're sorry, but we know when someone's genuine or not genuine. So people could say whatever they want to say, but when our intuition is telling us that it is just to pacify us and it's not genuine, so it's really not remorseful. And they could say whatever they want. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. And then there they are. They're doing it again. They're hurting you again. And the wound is deeper and deeper until it's festering. And it's an infection. And it's just like this bloody wound. And you can't just slap a Band-Aid on it, because a relationship takes two. It takes two to tango. And if they're not willing to put in the effort to restore the relationship, and if they're not willing to be active and participating in salvaging the relationship and working together to restore the relationship, and they're not going to ever move forward to make things right, there can never ever be reconciliation. So you yourself could someday eventually forgive those toxic narcissistic people who hurt you. It may happen. It could happen. For some people, it may be harder than others. Everyone's different, and the situation, especially when it's abuse. Abuse is really, really traumatic. But there is hope that we can, on our own, forgive others. But as far as reconciliation, I personally believe it is never possible unless there's two people together choosing to restore and mend the relationship and to work towards rebuilding. So it's something to consider, and it's something that we have to understand that it really does take two people to work together in unity and harmony and to mutually love each other, give each other grace, compassion, respect, understand the other person's boundaries and don't overstep them. But when this is impossible, this is usually what leads to going no contact. And I can only speak for myself that it's not an easy journey. It's not a decision I made overnight. It took me years and years and a lifetime to get to this place of saying, I'm done and I can't do this any longer. And truly it is an act of love for yourself. It's an act of saying, I have value, my feelings matter, that I am enough. I don't need you to tell me that I'm enough. And these people never will. They'll never, ever say that you're enough. Actually, they'll do the opposite and say that you're never enough. They'll break you, they'll destroy you, they'll do everything they can to steal the joy from you. And this is why we typically reach this breaking point of walking away and of saying, I'm done and I'm going to go no contact. And it's a moment that could be empowering, even though there's grief involved. It's a moment where we're back in the driver's seat, because when you hit bottom, the only way to go is up. And so today I hope that if you're dealing with relationships that are either low contact, no contact, or you are still in contact and it's just so excruciating painful, you're suffering, you're hurting so bad, and the wounds are just so darn deep, I just pray that you could consider seeking different forms of support and help along this journey of yours. God bless you, and feel free to check out my website at danaarcuri.com and share with me if you have gone no contact. Share with me if you want to add to my list. You may have something that's a totally different experience than mine that you would like to add to this, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you. Bye-bye.